And a very good morning to you. Look at this. Is it me or is it Tuesday? Let me just blink my eyes. Blink, blink. Yes, it looks like it is Tuesday, 7 a.m., Tuesday, October 7th, 2025. Welcome to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. Guess what? We have phone lines that are wide open right now. 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. Intervals of clouds and sun early. Becoming cloudy later today. It'll be warm and breezy through the day, though highs in the low 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta, he's got the full Garden State forecast for you. Good morning to you, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. Yes, it's going to be a warm day. You look at the calendar and go, no, October 7th can't be true. We're back in the low 80s today. It'll feel very warm. It already feels warm with temperatures in the upper 60s and humid across New Jersey. Not exactly feeling like that crisp October morning. 14 degrees warmer than this time yesterday over in Morristown, 11 degrees warmer in Flemington, and quite humid with that high level of humidity lasting throughout this afternoon. So we look at the cloud picture and see a few thin clouds working their way into New Jersey, not expecting to see too much in the way of cloud cover this morning. It's this afternoon that those clouds begin to give our skies that overcast look, and with a pretty gusty wind out of the south, we'll see those winds pick up, drive in some very mild air before some showers come through tonight, and then you see the wind shift for tomorrow, bringing back a nice dry, refreshing feel. Could be up in the low 80s today over toward Newark, even by Trenton, 82 degrees for you, 82 in Camden. By 2 o'clock this afternoon, that's where we'll see, I think, most of the clouds return, and then the showers and storms get going throughout later on this evening, after the evening rush, into the overnight. Likely even some thunderstorms possible as that temperature drops quickly, and then through tomorrow morning, some heavy downpours right around daybreak, leading to a drier finish to the morning, and then by lunchtime it all clears out. A refreshing northwesterly breeze takes over, cools us down all the way into the 30s by Thursday morning. So a big drop in temperatures, and that dry, cooler air is here to stay, at least through the weekend. Even see with the future cast going into the next several days, we start off in the 30s again on Friday morning, probably some frost and freeze advisories up in the northwestern counties, and then going into Friday afternoon, temperatures moderate back into the 60s, but that's where we should be by the end of the week, going into the second weekend in October. Plenty of clear sky, lots of sunshine for tomorrow as well as for Thursday and Friday, but again, bringing back that rain later on this evening into the very early morning of tomorrow. We'll tell you more about the weekend weather and what you can expect coming up. Those details, Ken, in just a few minutes.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike. And in terms of traffic, we do have some to report already. A fluid spill. God, doesn't that sound awful? Well, how you doing today, Joe? I don't know. I got a fluid spill. Sounds like something you could take a pill for. This is on Route 17 northbound south of Route 130 Orient Way in Rutherford. This is not funny, though. All lanes are closed there right now, so that's a bad thing. We have a crash on the Jersey Turnpike Western Spur northbound south of interchange 15W. That's by I-280 in Kearney. A left lane and right shoulder are blocked. We have delays on Route 17 southbound north of Route 4 in Paramus to north of Central Avenue in Rochelle Park Township. All lanes are open, but that's just a mess of traffic. And delays on the turnpike exiting at interchange 15E, 1 and 9 in Newark. That's due to volume. We have delays on the turnpike inner and outer roadways northbound in the vicinity of interchange 14, I-78. That's 1 and 9 in Elizabeth. 2.5 miles of delays through there. That's just volume at this hour. We take a look at the Hudson River crossings. Right now, the Lincoln and Holland are both reporting 25 to 30 minutes. The GWB, we take a look if we can. Let's see if they got that camera up. Yes, they do. And the GWB showing about a 35-minute delay, upper and lower level, upper on the right, lower on the left. So give it some time as you make your way to work. Although the good news is we do not have a gridlock alert week like we did last week and the week before. Certainly that was god awful. We don't have to worry about that this week. But we still have just your normal messy traffic that we would have this time of day. So give yourselves the regular travel time that you would pack. It is 7:04 right now, and Israelis prepared to mourn the dead today as the nation marks 2 years since Hamas's October 7th attack plunged the region into a devastating war. That devastating war, of course, going door to door looking to kill Jews. And while today Israel and Hamas hold direct talks in Egypt, in the Gaza Strip, where Israel's retaliatory offensive has killed a number of people, thousands, in fact, of people, and razed entire towns. And Israel's retaliatory offensive, in that case, though, those who can, rather, are fleeing another Israeli invasion of Gaza City, where others are sheltering in place now. Many are unable to make the arduous and costly journey south. So it has been 2 years since thousands of Hamas-led militants poured into southern Israel after a surprise barrage of rockets. They stormed army bases, the farming communities there, and an outdoor music festival, in the process killing 1,200 people, most of them civilians, including women, children in many cases, children right in front of their parents, older adults. They burned many alive. They raped Israeli women. They killed their babies in front of them. It was just horrible. And then, of course, they abducted 251 others, most of whom have since been released in ceasefires or other deals. President Trump has called, of course, for all of those individuals who were held hostage to be released. All of the Americans that we know of have been released. There are a number of Israelis still being held captive, some dead, some alive. The Israeli individuals, the citizens, just want the people back, whether they're dead or alive. Bring them back at this point. It looks like there could be 20 still alive. Hamas has said it will release them only in exchange for a lasting ceasefire and an Israeli withdrawal. And Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to continue the war until all of the captives are returned and Hamas has been disarmed. We are hoping that that happens. President Trump said we are within inches of having that happen. So we keep our fingers crossed. And President Trump is facing legal challenges from several blue state governors now over his efforts to deploy National Guard troops across state lines. Many critics are saying this move pushes the limits of his presidential power. His plan includes sending California Guard members to Oregon and Texas troops to Illinois, and that has prompted lawsuits. See, originally the president wanted to use the National Guard within each state to be mobilized under the Posse Comitatus Act within the United States. He can do that. And then a district judge in Oregon, as usual, jumped in and tried to play the part of president and said, no, you can't do that. So that female judge, a liberal, who, by the way, everyone's saying, oh, Trump appointed her. Trump appointed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of judges. He does not know what everybody's politics are. And apparently this judge had a history of being very far to the left. Her husband is a Democratic operative. So what happens is you have multimillionaire donors and friends who are leftists in New York City, and they say, hey, Donald, come here a second. Do me a favor. Appoint such and such. Do me a favor and just appoint her the judge out in Portland. She's good. You know, they're all liberal there anyway. Just appoint her. That's how that stuff happens. So I'm tired of hearing the Democrats say, well, it was one of his judges. She's a leftist. She's a far leftist. Just because he appointed her means nothing. He could not possibly have found thousands of judges, all of whom are to the right. So what does she do? She decides to do the best she can, quote unquote, and that is basically impose a freeze on the president's desire to call out the National Guard in Portland, where, by the way, for 5 years, you couldn't get safely to the federal ICE buildings in downtown because you have people protesting, throwing rocks, lighting fires. It's totally out of control. When you ask the rank and file administration in Portland or in the state of Oregon, a big bull dyke of a woman who runs the state as a crazed radical lesbian, the governor that she is, or the local very sissified man boy of a mayor of Portland, this emasculated little 92-pound dripping wet geek. You ask them, they say, oh, everything is just fine in Portland. It's just fine. Meanwhile, you literally have buildings burning. You have the ICE building unapproachable. And the president has a duty. His job, he took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States. And part of that involves making sure federal buildings are protected and that we ensure domestic tranquility and we protect our borders. That's something that Biden was totally negligent in. Just because he was negligent in it doesn't mean we should expect all presidents to be negligent in it. So President Trump is trying to do what he's supposed to do. And what we have now is these wimpy anti-Americans there saying no. Bottom line, President Trump came up with a concept. He says, well, if you won't allow in Oregon, you will not allow me to call out the Oregon National Guard in Oregon. I'm going to call out the California National Guard to Oregon and the Oregon National Guard to California. You don't have that authority. Well, this judge got all pissed off at that and said, yes, now I'm going to say that you can't do that. Well, she has no authority because the Supreme Court recently acted a few months ago and said a local district judge does not have the authority to superimpose any kind of ruling over the entire United States, because then what's the point of having a Supreme Court? What's the point of having different branches, having an executive branch, if one district judge can control the entirety of the United States? So, sweetie pie, sorry, yes, I'm going to sound misogynistic. Yes, sweetie pie, take your little judge dress and go sit down and stay in your lane, because you don't have that authority. The Supreme Court will come down with that decision probably in the next few days and shut her ass up. And then if the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court has a pair of balls, he will remove her. And he can do that, because if a judge, a district judge, acts in a way that they know is going to get overturned, that they know does not follow the letter of the law, they can be removed. They can be disbarred too. So she better watch it. And all these leftist judges better watch how finally they tread on water, because they will get their asses handed to them, as has happened every single time. Every single time. Every one of these judges has had their asses handed to them by the U.S. Supreme Court. Oh, Ken, it's a conservative court. Not really. Not really. You have like 3 hardcore conservatives, 3 hardcore liberals, and then you have several who kind of go both ways. It's not really hardcore. So just so you know. 7:10 is our time, and the Supreme Court has rejected, speaking of which, the Supreme Court has, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I didn't do the shutdown. Forgive me, Pam. The government shutdown enters its 6th day with no agreement between party leaders. Democrats want Obamacare subsidies extended, and Republicans refuse to negotiate until the government reopens. After yesterday's vote, it seems no deal is in sight. A new poll shows more Americans blame Republicans for the ongoing shutdown, but that's only in the big liberal states where they were tested. The fact is, it is impossible for the shutdown to be the fault of the Republicans. Let me give you the example. During all the years when we had Democrats in charge of everything and Republicans were in the minority, and you just needed a few Republican votes to shut down the government, who got blamed for it? The Republicans. Now you have exactly the opposite. So following logic, you can't blame the Republicans. Every Republican is voting for the continuing of our budget. This is the budget that was passed under Biden. They called it a clean budget. In other words, the Republicans added nothing to this. They just want to extend it for a few weeks so they can continue negotiating with Democrats. And Democrats said, no, let's shut down the government. So you cannot blame the Republicans for this. I don't care what poll says it's the Republicans' fault. Screw them, screw the pollsters. The way the pollsters skew the results is they ask a question like this. Don't you think the Republicans are to blame? Or what would you say to Republicans who are to blame for shutting down the government? That's the way they come up with an outcome like this. And if you look at poll after poll, either that or they tend to sample 42% Democrats, 21% Republicans, and then they wonder why they get a poll that skews against the Republicans. This is a pollster trick that has been going on forever. And that's why then they get shocked when come election day, they lose. This happens all the time. Well, don't be surprised that the polls are skewed, because they are. Now we go to the other story we started to read. The Supreme Court has rejected Ghislaine Maxwell's appeal of her criminal conviction. Her lawyers say they will pursue other legal options despite the setback. The decision clears the way for congressional interviews and ongoing investigations. Can you imagine her appearing before Congress and having to answer questions? A controversial statue of President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein has returned and left again. The bronze piece shows the two holding hands, sparking backlash, and of course, I mean, this has been an ongoing joke, because this artist group behind it thinks the statue highlights Trump's past ties to Epstein. Asshole. We've never had the president say he didn't know Epstein. Epstein lived on Palm Beach Island, right down the block from President Trump in Mar-a-Lago. He used to go to Mar-a-Lago before there was ever any issue about him with children and the island and the plane and anything. That has never been denied by President Trump. It was only when things started to come out in the early 2000s that President Trump cut him off and said, you are no longer welcome at Mar-a-Lago. And that's when the details started coming out. So the idea that, oh, there were connections between President Trump and Epstein, it's like, duh, that's like saying candy is sweet. The sky is blue. Tell me something we don't know. But they haven't had any kind of contact for over 2 decades. And you cannot try to link them together. And this is all obfuscation to try to get people off the idea that, yes, President Clinton was on the Lolita Express plane to the island dozens of times. We don't know that he was guilty of anything, but he was on the plane. President Trump had no reason to be on the plane because he had his own fleet of planes. Remember, President Trump actually owned an airline at one point, Trump Express, that used to fly between New York and DC. So there was no need for him to fly on Jeffrey Epstein's plane ever. But President Clinton did. Now, again, could be totally innocuous. I'm not suggesting in any way President Clinton did anything inappropriate. But there is a fact that on the log, he was there. So this is Democrats trying to bring up a red herring. Look over here. Look, nothing to see over there. Look over here. Trump, 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 bad. That's what that's about. So the statue, because the Republicans do have a sense of humor, the statue was allowed to sit there in D.C. for a while, and then it was taken down because it didn't have a permit. The permit was only for one day, and it expired, and they yanked it out. So that's that. It is 7:15. A man caused chaos on a flight headed to New Jersey after shouting bizarre conspiracy theories. He wore 15 different face masks. He yelled, "Trump is here." He said the gay people were giving him cancer, and he played Candy Crush between outbursts. There's absolutely nothing psychologically wrong with this individual, I'm sure, right? The plane made an unscheduled stop in Chicago, where a lot of people who are insane seem to live these days. He was removed by police after he made comments about the plane, God forbid, crashing. The flight later continued safely to Newark. Knowing, by the way, that the way things are in Chicago, I bet you the guy was praised once he landed by the mayor of Chicago. And a federal judge sentenced Sean Diddy Combs to 4 years and 2 months in prison. Combs was convicted of transporting women for prostitution at events involving drugs and escorts. The judge acknowledged Combs' community impact, but emphasized the seriousness of the abuse. Victims described lasting trauma, while Combs expressed remorse and asked for mercy. His children pleaded for leniency, saying that they still need their father in their lives. Prosecutors questioned his sincerity and called for accountability. Combs will serve his sentence in federal prison, and the location is still not being announced. It will be, though. And finally, a wrong-way driver from Prospect Park was killed in a head-on crash. It happened on I-80 in Elmwood Park early Sunday. The 29-year-old was driving east and westbound lanes when his Kia collided with another vehicle. 2 others in the crash suffered non-life-threatening injuries. It is 7:16 right now. Our temperature is 60 degrees in Trenton. And when we come back, intervals of clouds and sun. So we're going to give you the details, and then becoming cloudy later. Warm and breezy today, highs in the low 80s. We'll have the full Garden State forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta when we return. You're watching ONNJ Mornings. Don't go away.
We need to move into clean power. It's going to cost you an arm and a leg, but if you're a good person, you'll do it.
Unbelievable. Talk about out of touch. I'm Jack Chitterelli. Politicians like Mikey Sherrill and Phil Murphy just don't get it. They're making New Jersey unaffordable, especially for the middle class. We need a change. My plan brings down property taxes, lowers electricity bills, and cuts your income taxes. Because you should keep more of what you earn. It's time to fix New Jersey. When I'm governor, we will.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Hoffman, host of Energy Matters. Join me every night at 6 p.m. where we're discussing energy affordability, challenges, and solutions with stakeholders and elected officials. Join me weekdays at 6 p.m. on Energy Matters on ONNJ.
Hello there. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings for your Tuesday. It is 7:18. Intervals of clouds and sun early, becoming cloudy later. It'll be warm and breezy. Highs are going to make it to the low 80s. And then maybe a little precip possible tonight. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the details with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. Yeah, a little bit of rain on the way. This is a much needed rain that we've been waiting for the last, I think 10 days. We've been so dry. And the wind today aiding in that drier feel, especially coming in from the south with gusts as high as 35 miles per hour, prompting a small craft advisory down the shore. You'll feel that wind later today, especially with the clouds moving in as well from the south and west, aiding in that big warm up all the way to 82 in Matawan, 78, right along the water in Long Branch. These are not typical temperatures of early October, especially seeing all the people at the beach again this past weekend. It's odd. Very odd not to, do the apple picking and the pumpkin picking, and yet here we are into the first week of October with above average temperatures. Well, the cool down that comes will bring a gusty wind into this evening, as well as some rain, and then a big cool down into tomorrow. You can see two areas here. One is this area off to the south and west, which brings in some of the warmer rains, and then the cold front is draped across the western portion of the of Illinois, and that will eventually move through New Jersey by tomorrow morning. So we're still muggy and humid into this evening, and then we'll see temperatures drop by tomorrow morning. Still a rainy, muggy start throughout the first part of your Wednesday, but look what happens by tomorrow afternoon. Those dew points drop, the air becomes very dry, refreshing, and then we get bone dry going into Thursday. That will make it feel very pleasant with that drier shade here in orange appearing on the map. Again, it'll feel much more pleasant by the end of the week, much more like fall should. Going into the weekend, then a little further down the road, there's this tropical system that may develop offshore, but the good news is it should stay offshore. We just get those cloud bands for Saturday and maybe a smattering of rain by Sunday afternoon. Again, look at how most of it stays offshore because there's this big high pressure that pulls it away and keeps it far from us. Again, we just get the fringe effects into Monday and Tuesday of next week. So that's the big weather system to watch. After tonight's rain, we get another round of rain this weekend, but that's more tropical in nature. So the timing and, of course, the intensity is variable since we're still several days away. As far as this weekend is concerned, we'll take a middle of the road forecast right now. 66 degrees with clouds increasing for Saturday. Some possible showers, could be heavier. Again, time will tell. By Sunday, with a pretty gusty breeze out of the north and east, sustained at 13 miles per hour, maybe gusting into the 20s with some cloudy skies all around. The good news is next week clears out nicely, and there's that fall feel going on into the 7-day. We'll tell you all about that, Ken, with your 7-day forecast. It's coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. In terms of traffic, and we do have some of it right now to tell you about. Let's go to East Orange, New Jersey. I-280 eastbound at the Garden State Parkway has a little bit of buildup at this hour. You can see, yes, we do have a lot of buildup right there. There's no specific reason. This is just apparently volume. But again, this is in East Orange, I-280 eastbound at the Garden State Parkway. You can see quite a lot of traffic right now as people now have their headlights on at 7:20 in the morning. This is, I think, the first week we're seeing headlights on at this hour as people, I guess, when they were leaving their houses, the sunrise hadn't yet occurred. So that's what we're seeing. 7:22, and we have a fluid spill still to report. This is on Route 17 northbound, south of Route 130 Orient Way in Rutherford. All lanes are closed, so that's causing a mess. And we have delays on the Turnpike Western Spur northbound from the Southern Mixing Bowl in Newark to south of interchange 15W, I-280 in Kearney. All lanes open. There's a 2.5-mile delay due to volume. Hudson River crossings right now. Issues at the Lincoln Tunnel and Holland Tunnel, just volume, but we're told about 30 minutes for each. We look at the GWB upper and lower levels, pretty heavy for this hour. Look at that. I mean, that's really heavy for right now, considering it is not an official gridlock alert day in Manhattan or anything. So we're told 35, 40 minutes in. I bet you it's a few minutes longer than that. Upper level on the right, lower on the left, and there's no specific incident reported. It's just, oh, hang on, I stand corrected. It says here, delays on the GWB lower level eastbound, pardon me. It says travel time 40 minutes. It doesn't say why, though. So it could just be volume, but that's the latest that just popped up on the screen as I talk to you. It is 7:23, and two teenage best friends, Maria Neotis and Isabella Rose Salas, were killed in a tragic hit and run while riding e-bikes in Cranford, New Jersey. A 17-year-old male has been arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Isabella was a singer and volunteer. Maria, a future cosmetologist who made others feel seen. Their community gathered in grief, lighting candles and sharing memories of 2 bright lives lost. Starting January 1st, 2026, New Jersey's minimum wage will rise to $15.92 per hour. I always wonder how they get to something so specific. Not $16, $15.92. Seasonal and small business employees will earn $15.23, while agricultural workers will earn $14.20 per hour. The tipped minimum wage cash increases to $6.05, with the tip credit remaining at $9.87. Again, there's some nerdy guy with thick horn rimmed glasses and tape over the the center of the glasses who figured out those specific numbers, I'm sure, but God bless the individual nonetheless. 7:24 right now. Class is in session for anybody dreaming of living in a former school. An historic Lambertville schoolhouse is now a 5,500 square foot home listed at $2.75 million. You ever want to live in a schoolhouse? Get the butterflies in your stomach? Have that apple for teacher? Well, this schoolhouse was built in 1878. It features original oak floors, high ceilings throughout. The property includes 4 bedrooms, a walled garden, an off-street area for parking. Located near shops and restaurants, it offers both privacy and charm. Do I feel like I'm working for a real estate agency? Yeah, I do. And this, if you think there is such a thing as freedom of speech all around the world, you have another thing coming to you. Even in this country, it was almost taken away under the Biden administration. But just take a listen to this. We're talking about Europe now, a modern European country, as if we needed to illustrate how the concept of freedom of speech does not exist outside the U.S. Sentencing for a Spanish priest who this past week was found guilty of making, quote, Islamophobic comments more than 7 years ago, has Catholics as well as free speech advocates concerned. Now, what are you supposed to do as a Roman Catholic priest in the pulpit and you're celebrating Mass and you're saying a homily? You're supposed to advocate for other faiths now, and if you don't, then you get hit with hate speech charges. So in February, Father Custodio Ballester was summoned by a regional court in Spain. Of course, this is happening near Barcelona, where they're crazy, to respond to charges that he had committed a hate crime for calling attention to the unjust treatment that Christians receive in Islamic majority countries, which is a fact. They're being murdered in African countries that are Islamic majority right now. They're having their heads cut off and their churches burnt down. God forbid he mentioned that, though. Ballester, who serves as a parish priest in Barcelona, was charged with violating Spanish law in 2020 when the state prosecutor in Catalonia blamed that an article that Ballester wrote in 2016 that was entitled "The Impossible Dialogue with Islam" met the criteria of a hate crime. Now, remember the history of Spain for those who don't know it. Islam controlled Spain. They had to kick them out. All right, Morocco, the Moors, the people of Morocco were called the Moors, Moros in Spanish. For those of you who have ever heard of the dish Moros y Cristianos, it means Moors and Christians because it's black beans and rice. That's where the dish gets its name, because the Moors were darker skin and the Cristianos were lighter skin, the Christians. So, the northern African Islamic countries controlled Europe, including all of Spain, the Spanish Peninsula, and Portugal for years. You go to the southern part of Portugal to this day, they have an area called the Algarve. It's called the Algarve because Al stands for God in Arabic, right? Well, Ballester wrote his essay in response to a pastoral letter by his superior, the Archbishop of Barcelona, Cardinal Juan José Omeya, entitled "The Necessary Dialogue with Islam." In his rebuttal, Ballester wrote, quote, "This new reactivation of Christian-Muslim dialogue, paralyzed by the alleged imprudences on the part of the late Pope Benedict XVI, Benedict being he was more conservative, but of course his predecessor, or the person who came after him, was of course Francis, who was very liberal. Well, this priest is saying it was very far from reality, the idea of having peace between Islam and Christians. Islam does not allow dialogue. Either you do it their way, they cut off your head. That's why we had what we had. That's why we had the Ottoman Empire. If you did not convert, you got your head cut off, your church burnt down, your community, your women raped, babies killed. That's what Islam did. That's called Sharia law today, folks. Just go to Islamic majority countries. We're not talking about Saudi Arabia, but if they had their druthers and they weren't trading for money with the West, that's what Sharia law calls for, folks. Either you believe or you are an infidel and you must be subdued one way or another. Well, the priest talked about that. It's in the Quran. And because of that, he now could face jail. I'd like to see if the same would be done to an Islamic cleric in an Islamic country that said something negative about Christians. Europe needs to wake up, although I think it's already too late for them. They deserve what they get. Apparently, they do not remember European control under the Ottoman Empire. Hey, idiots, open up a history book and read. It wasn't that long ago. It was only 150 to 200 years ago, literally, when there were issues with the Ottoman Empire throughout Europe. Wake up. 7:29, as Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson signs an executive order establishing so-called ICE-free zones, a federal special agent working on deportations said these types of measures are causing real complications and hampering ICE's ability to crack down on criminal illegal immigrants. The special agent who works deportations in New England says that sanctuary policies banning ICE agents from using police departments or other city areas for staging often forces agents to be exposed, having to prepare for missions in public areas. In other words, makes them vulnerable to be attacked. No police department, whether it's federal or local, can do their job hampered like this. And the mayor knows this, and he knows someone's going to get killed, and he doesn't give a damn. The agent explained that if ICE does not have a nearby office and is barred from using city grounds, that means you are stuck out in the open with nowhere to retreat to. On Monday, the Democrat Johnson, the idiot Mayor Johnson, signed an executive order prohibiting the use of city parking lots and garages for civil immigration enforcement staging areas, processing locations, or operations bases. So you know what the federal government has to do? Eminent domain, take it over. They could do that. They could just come in and say, federal government, federal government, federal government. And I think until that ass who is the mayor of Chicago gets a little taste of that, I think he will continue to be the ass that he is, along with the fat tub of shit who is known as Pritzker, the overpaid fat slob of a governor whose family owns the Hyatt Hotel Company, which is why he has the money he has and was able to run for elective office, because he's an idiot. Meanwhile, crime in Chicago through the roof, with dozens of people getting murdered on the average weekend and no solutions offered by the good Mayor Johnson. 7:30 our time right now, 60 degrees. When we come back, Eric, the travel guy Hastings, returns with a golfer's paradise escape to Hilton Head, South Carolina. Intervals of clouds and sun early, becoming cloudy later. It'll be warm and breezy, highs in the low 80s, the full Garden State forecast when we return. And we will take your phone calls, 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. We'll be right back.
Bergen Equestrian in Leonia is the top destination for horse riding, lessons, and exceptional horse boarding facilities on over 23 acres in Overpeck Park. Bergen Equestrian has programs for people of all ages and skill sets, indoor and outdoor riding areas, and a riding lounge. Riders can compete in horse shows and special events. Bergen Equestrian offers horse boarding and rentals, seasonal kids camps, and more. Consider Bergen Equestrian for unforgettable memories with kids' birthday parties, private events, weddings, and school trips. Visit bergenequestrian.com.
Very good morning to you. 7:32 right now, Tuesday, October 7th. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. Phone lines wide open at 888-658-0234. Intervals of clouds and sun early, becoming cloudy later. It'll be warm and breezy with highs in the low 80s. Perfect fall day, right? Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast.
Perfect fall day for those that love summer and want to hang on to it because it's humid. It's muggy outside. It's warm. We've got some beautiful weather on the way for tomorrow with much drier air in the forecast by Thursday. So the fall feel will be returning in the next several days, but we just squeeze out one more day of that summer feel over in Egg Harbor City and down the shore in Atlantic City. Temperatures today, warm. Starting in the upper 60s, climbing to 77, even the 80s as you head west of the Parkway. There's enough of a wind off of the water out of the south and southeast that makes it feel a touch cooler along the beaches. But again, that just keeps the humidity feeling quite high, as even today's high coming in at 83, 13 degrees above average. Wild, that heat. Sunrise, late, not until after 7 a.m. So we had a pretty late start to the morning with sunset now at 7:28. We get the shorter daylight hours, the longer nighttime hours, and pretty evident there, especially with that pretty dark start this morning. As Ken mentioned, a lot of people driving around with their headlights this morning and some of those traffic cameras. Looking ahead to the rain that moves in later on tonight, it'll be a good soaking where it's needed most, and that's key. Northern half of the state has seen quite a rainfall deficit. We could pick up to an inch by this time tomorrow morning. So a good amount of rainfall in just a few short hours tonight, with some of the, again, additional rains falling south of 195. So you have plenty of wet weather there as well. Looking down toward the tropics, you see this system that's in the Atlantic Basin, which may form into something, but also a couple of clouds out in the Caribbean, which may work their way northward. That's what could become our potential tropical system that'll be offshore later on this weekend could influence our weather down the road. As far as tonight's rain, moves in after dark, takes over with some wet weather, maybe even some downpours, thunder and lightning possible. And then it all clears out by tomorrow around lunchtime with sunshine returning for the early afternoon and that dry northwesterly breeze pushing down temperatures all the way. Look at that, into the 30s there in Morristown and Sussex. It's going to feel mighty chilly, a good 40 degrees cooler than this afternoon. So a big drop in temperatures with that northerly wind making it feel quite pleasant. So the cold front does its job, moves in the colder, drier air, kicks out the clouds and showers, and provides us with that refreshing feel throughout tomorrow as well as Thursday as that high pressure kind of parks itself across New Jersey and settles in throughout the first part of the weekend. This is also the weather player, this high pressure, that prevents that tropical system from coming too far north. So that maybe gives us some wind by Saturday and Sunday, but should keep us relatively dry, at least for the first half of the weekend. Maybe it breaks down into Monday of next week, seeing some more clouds by then. But as far as the temperatures, we go from the 80s today, falling through the 70s tomorrow, all the way down into the 30s and 40s by Thursday morning, rebounding to 61. So big drop in temperatures, making it feel very crisp and refreshing for the first part of the weekend. It stays cool in through this weekend. By Monday, I think we see a little bit of cloud cover with that wind off of the water, making it feel a little cooler, but not as dry. And then again, for the shore points, you have a nice cool feel as well, more of those breezes coming in from the west. And again, better chances to see the rain by Sunday and Monday at the shore points with that system offshore, maybe throwing back some wet weather our way. So chances of rain are good, especially as we go into next week and get things a little bit more, a little bit wetter around here. It's been dry, Ken, starting off the month.
Here comes the rain again, falling on my head like, I don't know why. Whenever you talk about "Here Comes the Rain Again," that's what goes to my mind.
Are you
Maybe
going for the
because I'm a
Tony? Is that it now?
Yes, I am. That's Opera Man coming out. That's my secret little shadow of a personality deep down. And maybe I should stop right now because my Xanax prescription is low. All right, thank you so much, Mike. We appreciate you, sir. We will check back with you in a little bit. We do have a lot to talk about in terms of traffic. Take a look at Route 3 at Route 21. And this is because of a disabled tractor. Look at the mess of traffic that is. Good Lord. This is not far from, well, let's put it this way. Route 321 takes you over to Newark, but we have a disabled tractor trailer in Secaucus at Hackensack River Bridge on Route 3. 2 right lanes of the 4 lanes closed. That is causing residual delays that go about 3 miles. So that's what you have right there that you're looking at. Just a mess on Route 3. They say that it is eastbound, but it looks like there's also westbound residual delays because of rubbernecking. So that's what you have there. We have another mess for you to report. This is over on Route 17. Fluid spill on Route 17 northbound, south of Route 130 Orient Way in Rutherford. All lanes are closed, and that is what you got for that right there. Just an absolute mess as well on Route 17. Issue over on 287 right now. Delays on 287 southbound north of exit 14, Route 22 in Bridgewater Township to exit 12. It's all lanes are open. That is simply delays due to volume, just a mess of that. And we have delays on the Turnpike Outer Roadway northbound from north of Interchange 12, Carteret Rawway in Carteret to south of Interchange 13 by the Goethals Bridge in Linden with almost 3 miles of delays, all due to volume. Your Hudson River crossings, the Lincoln and Holland are both reporting 30 to 35. And look at the GWB. It is an absolute mess this morning, bumper to bumper, upper level on the right, lower on the left. Neither one is going to save you any time. 40 minutes across at this hour. 7:38 is our time, and if you are looking for a getaway that has something for everybody in your family, from gorgeous beaches to world-class golf courses, at a price that doesn't have to break the bank, and it's even drivable, well, try Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. Eric Hastings of ericthetravelguy.com, that is Eric with a K, and host of the PBS and YouTube video travel series Beyond Your Backyard, joins us now to talk all about it. Good morning to you, Eric.
Ken, I don't know if you can hear me, but this is yet one of the reasons I don't like to do live television. It's outside. I'm standing in front of a gorgeous Robert Trent Jones golf course, built in 1967. It's here at Palmetto Bluff. And again, I don't know how much of this you can actually hear because I can't hear you at all. Why? Because this morning, as we're speaking, You can see they are maintaining this course right behind me. There he is. Can't hear anything you're saying. I'm sure you're not saying anything, but there he goes. It's yet another reason at 7:30 in the morning. The birds are chirping, the sun is shining, it's peaceful, it's serene, and it is an immaculate course. I love Hilton Head, and that's where we are this morning, as I'm sure you said. I didn't hear it, but I'm sure
So
you said it.
yes, I did. I absolutely did. And the amazing thing is Hilton Head, for those that don't mind like an 11-hour drive, Hilton Head can be driven from New Jersey. If you have like
Yeah.
6 kids and you want to pack them in the station wagon, if anybody still has a station wagon or a minivan, you could do an 11-hour, 11 and a half hour drive and be in Hilton Head and not have to worry about paying for 11 plane tickets or whatever. That is a way to do it. And the nice thing is, if you love golf, there's great golf. If you're not into golf, you've got beautiful beaches, great restaurants. It has a little something for everybody.
No, it really does, and I think that's one of the things I wanted to talk about today, especially because again, people think about like, well, I'm not going to go to Hilton Head in the summer because that's when peak season is. Look, every place in the world has essentially three different seasons. And Ken, you and I have talked about this many times, but peak season here on Hilton Head Island is the summer, of course. Now, as you know, it's October. I'm here in shoulder season, and as I said, the temperature is perfect. We were at the beach yesterday. Caligny Beach is the beach we were at yesterday. The golf courses are open, of course, year round, and the crowds aren't as high, aren't as are large as they are in the summertime. So this is shoulder season for Hilton Head here in October.
Nice. And if people want to go with the expensive hotels, they can, but there are also some lesser expensive options in Hilton Head. People just think Hilton Head is all, hoity-toity expensive, but you can get like the Motel Sixes and stuff like that in Hilton Head as well, right?
Yes, Ken, let me ask you something. Do you remember the date, the last time you stayed at a Motel 6? I'm just curious. I don't remember
Yes,
the
I
last.
do.
When was it?
I do. I used to work at Channel 17 in Elmira, New York, and that had to be about 25, 30, now probably 35, 40 years ago.
That sounds about right. But you bring up a great point. One of the things I love to do down here is you're right. There are hotel accommodations, resort accommodations. There's a Disney resort here if you've got a family and you want to do a Disney thing. One of the things that I like to do down here is to rent a house so that you can do a multi generational trip. I mean, that's a lot of fun where you do I'm not the biggest fan of the VRBOs and the Airbnbs. This is one of the places you want to do that. That way you can go out, get some provisions for the house, and then and hang out. And again, people ask me that all the time. They go, Eric, well, I don't know if I'm not a golfer. I don't know what to do while I'm there. Well, this is one of these places where you don't do a whole lot. You put your phone down, you stop staring at the television, and you go to the beach, or you go hang out at the pool, or you shop downtown. You just relax and take it slow. That's what this place is about.
By the way, I went and saw some of your old Beyond Your Backyards. I mean, you were, I think, 4 years old. You were just past fetus stage when you
Yes,
had done those versions.
yes.
But it was great because you went not only to Hilton Head per se, you explored the areas around Hilton Head. And I didn't realize, I mean, it makes sense, obviously, but Hilton Head Island, there's a slave past to Hilton Head, and there are museums and whatnot around there. Talk about that.
Oh, big time. I mean, the Coastal Discovery Museum is an absolute must because if you want to learn a fascinating piece of American history, this is one of the places to do it when you talk about the Gullah culture. And it truly is a fascinating group of individuals. And I think it was, Ken, forgive me, I don't have my notes in front of me, I'm outside. I think it's Mitchellville or Mitchelltown. I think it's Mitchellville, which is actually one of the first, if not the first, community of former slaves that was formed, and you can go and see that here. And again, I'm not saying you have to go on vacation and go to school while you're here, but it is a fascinating piece of American history.
And you should. Actually, we should.
Yeah,
For these poor human beings who were dragged over to the to America, it wasn't United States per se at the time, and
yeah.
then treated so awfully. And then they turned, at the end of a whip, they turned swampland into a beautiful place with the sweat of their effort. They are the truest of Americans from that time and helped build what is a beautiful country now. And I think they need to be remembered for the heroes that they were. Not that they wanted to do that; they were enslaved. But nonetheless, I think that people need to see and understand that these were incredible human beings who did what they did, and they need to be remembered. So it is, again, drivable. And then you could also get, by the way, not to go from something as serious as that to this, but you can get also some decent flights to Hilton Head. I've seen some decent flights there. And the other thing that I love about Hilton Head is you could drive from there to Savannah if you wanted to, because Savannah is beautiful. You could drive to Atlanta. It's a few hours. You could go. There are so many regional cities, even up to, if you wanted to go up to what's just up the shore, the other beach community.
Myrtle Beach?
No,
No.
thank you. I'm sorry. It's too early. I haven't had my coffee. Myrtle Beach, just a couple hours, an hour and a half up the shore. There's so much to do from where you are right now. It's a fabulous, fabulous place
Well,
to check out.
Well, and so many families fall into that same trap. And listen, even I have been guilty of it from time to time. Say, well, in the summertime we do this, and in the fall we do that, or in the spring we do this. We do the same thing. We go down the shore and we just do that thing. We just keep doing it over and over for generations. My challenge to you is to say, you know what? Let's do something a little different. How much different is Hilton Head than LBI? I don't know. That's for you to discover. Maybe there isn't a whole lot. I don't know, but try it out. I mean, that's one of the things that you can do is say, put a stake in the ground and say, next year we're doing Hilton Head, or next year we're doing Savannah, next year we're doing something different.
I love it. Eric Hastings of ericthetravelguy.com. Go enjoy that golf course. That's Eric with a K, by the way, host of the PBS and YouTube video travel series Beyond Your Backyard, and owner of the Speakeasy Murder and Other Acts of Prohibition Dinner Theater in Orlando, Florida. Check it out when you head down to the theme parks. Thank you, sir, for joining us this morning, as always, and enjoy the humidity of Hilton Head.
Thank you. See you, Ken.
All right, buddy. We'll see you. 7:45 right now. When we come back, intervals of clouds and sun, early becoming cloudy later, warm and breezy, highs in the low 80s, the full Garden State forecast in just a minute. You're watching ONNJ Mornings, streamed daily on Roku, Fire TV, News on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, Facebook, and X, and now streamed live on Rumble and Twitch. Just go to twitch.tv/ONNJ, and we will be there. I promise. We're coming right back. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings for your Wednesday. It is 7:47. Intervals of clouds and sun, early becoming cloudy later. It'll be warm and breezy, highs in the low 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. A very warm start to the day and a warm finish with highs that'll be in the mid-80s over in northeastern New Jersey toward Hackensack and Newark, even Jersey City, 82 with that warm weather. A little bit of humidity, too, as the clouds take over this afternoon. We'll start the day nice and bright, then sunny, and then eventually cloud cover gives us a little more of an overcast scene, in addition to the rain that moves in tonight. That will help beat our drought, which is still going strong across the northern half of the state. Only 24% of average rainfall there up in Sussex County. So a lot of a rainfall deficit, anywhere from as much as 2 to 4 inches in that dark shade of red north of Route 78. You head a little further south across southern New Jersey, and you picked up a little bit more rain over the last month or so. So not as terrible of a drought there, but still, it's going quite strong. So we look down toward the tropics, and that area I showed you before that is working its way into favorable area of development may become our next named tropical system. That's one to watch, but at least it should stay out to sea after it develops. Through the middle toward the end of the month, still above average temperatures forecast for us here in New Jersey. That extends right down toward the Midwest and West. So yeah, there's a lot of heat coming across the country, as is the chances of rain. They're a little bit higher through the middle of the month. You can see that darker shade of green down at the shore with better chances of wet weather over the next few days and weeks. Our forecast, at least through the next 7 days, brings back the rain tonight, clears out by tomorrow, late morning, early afternoon, and then temperature drops into the 30s and 40s for tomorrow night, rebounding only to 61 on Thursday. Still cool, 65 on Friday. It's a bit different to be below average for a change with that cooler feel going into the weekend. But I think this weekend with the extra clouds that'll be around, at the very best, I think we get some high, thin cloud cover, so veiled sunshine. The worst case scenario will be some rain by Sunday into Monday, and I think that's certainly the case down the shore as that tropical system stays out to sea, but gives us our rain chances that come back through the end of the weekend with additional wet weather in the forecast. So a big cool down on the way, Ken, after that rain moves in tonight.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate it. We're just getting the latest traffic. Sorry about that, Mike, for the delay. In fact, let's pick up the camera that we were just doing, Pam. That's a Route 4 tour. Thank you, Mike. The Route 4 tour cam. This is at I-95. Take a look at this absolute mess of traffic. This is people who try to avoid the standard approaches to I-95, the GWB. That is 4 at 95 up in the area of Fort Lee, just bumper to bumper traffic there. We figured we'd poke around at some of the other regional cams to see if there was a better approach for you, like Route 46. Some people take that to get over the GWB. They're all pretty much like that right now. It's just an absolute mess. We also have an issue with a missing manhole cover. This is on Doremus Avenue, southbound by Port Street in Newark. That's right in downtown. So the missing manhole cover, of course, is making everybody bypassing go around. The left lane is blocked. And that's causing a mess of rush hour traffic in downtown Newark right now. Disabled tractor trailer on Route 3 eastbound by Hackensack River Bridge in Secaucus. 2 right lanes of the 4 lanes closed. That's causing about 3 miles of delays. And your GWB approach, we showed you the Route 4 approach. Let's take a look at the upper and lower levels from 80-95. And you'll see that that is just an absolute mess. We're told it's about 40 to 45 minutes getting over the GWB right now. That is just all due to volume. Lincoln and Holland, not much better at about 35 minutes. It is 7:51, and we are counting down to the Newark Arts Festival 2025, New Jersey's largest celebration of arts and culture. This year, it'll be lighting up the city of Newark. It starts tomorrow, by the way, October 8th. It runs through this Sunday, the 12th. Hundreds of artists with over that 5-day period. With a theme called Joy. It's a call to action. And Daryl Stewart is the festival director of NAF 2025. He's the inaugural director of programs for Newark Arts, and he's with us this morning. Good morning to you, Daryl.
Good morning, Ken. Good morning to you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And I see you got the joyous smile going. That's a good thing. So tell us about the theme of Joy. What does it mean to you? Why did you choose this as this year's theme?
Well, Ken, we need joy, right? These days, we definitely need joy. And so we decided to make this our theme this year for our 24th annual festival, to really just lean into a universal theme that we can all kind of get behind, which is the idea that joy is something that holds us. It's something we can all relate to, and it's something we desperately need right now.
Amen to that. And specifically this Friday night, October 10th, is the largest art walk in Newark's history. What was it like getting that arranged and organized, and what can visitors who come into Newark expect?
Well, it's about an 11-month process, Ken, so I'm excited to see it come to fruition. We have over 30 different galleries, exhibitions, public art, performance art. Everyone is on a map which lives on our website, NewarkArtsFestival.com, and we're just inviting folks to come. We're also really interested in buyers and folks who collect art, and getting sort of different generations to understand the power and the importance of engaging with the art at every level, not just as a spectator, but also as someone who collects and purchases. So we have art at different levels, which I'm excited about. So I'm hoping to get out there too, to see what is available and what I might be able to purchase for my own collection. It's going to be an exciting evening. The whole city will be involved, including our great partners who are all listed again on our website. And we're really, really excited to bring everyone together again for a time such as this, which is when we feel like we really need this right now. So we're excited to get together as a community, celebrate, see some beautiful art, some beautiful people, and just enjoy all that the city has to offer.
And Newark has tons and tons and tons of that. Here, I'm going to confess that I was just recently at a celebration of life event that was down by the Prudential Center. I didn't realize on the side of the Prudential Center, all those clubs and whatnot that you could rent out space for parties and dinners and art gatherings and stuff. It is awesome. Newark is a fabulous, fabulous city with so much to offer. It is an epicenter of jazz for people who don't realize. In fact, Jazz 88, of course, is headquartered in Newark, 88.1, and they are the jazz station for all of Sirius XM in the whole world. And it's right there in Newark. I mean, Newark is the home to it. Mark Ruffin, I don't know if you know Mark. He's a friend of mine. In fact, I'm actually sitting in Fort Lauderdale right now. Mark Ruffin is a couple of floors below me in the very building I'm in. He does his show from this building in Fort Lauderdale when he's not in Newark, just so you know. I've probably given away secrets I shouldn't give away. But Newark is just an incredible city full of amazing people and tons of art. So I'm just so happy to see it celebrated like this. Why was it important to expand beyond the traditional art spaces to kind of create more of an art space for the whole city? And how does that reflect Newark's unique cultural identity?
Well, Ken, we have a lot of people here in the city, right? This is one of the largest cities in the Northeast, right? And we have so many different diverse populations. So for me as a festival director and as an artist myself, it was really, really important to do our work to include and be as inclusive of as many different organizations and awesome community partners and corporate partners, to be honest, who have all kind of joined forces to make sure that this festival really speaks to all of the different demographics that we serve, from young to old to corporate to community. So we're really, really excited to see that continue to bloom and grow, and super, super grateful for all of the incredible, incredible partnership that we have on this year's festival.
Yeah, and you think of Newark, of course, you have wonderful African American culture. You have Portuguese and Brazilian.
Yeah.
You have all Latino in general, right? That is now congregated to the city because of the Ironbound being an epicenter at one point. Italians who've been there for decades. You have LGBT community that is huge in Newark. I mean, everybody. It's sort of that welcoming umbrella. That just Newark feels like a city that everybody is always welcome, and at the same time, it doesn't feel pretentious. It's a fun place, great restaurants, places to party without pretense. So that's the beauty of it. And I'm so glad that you embrace that. Talk about the Camp Revival exhibition and the mentorship. You have international artist Genesis Tremaine there too. So talk about that if you would.
Yes, Ken. So listen, I say it's all happening and it's all here. Joy lives here in Newark. We're really excited this year. I'm a big champion for arts education, Ken, and I'm a product of the public education school system here in New Jersey. So arts education is how I kind of entered into this space. So it was really important for me to highlight that and bring that back. So we're partnering with Genesis Tremaine, who is a renowned, really global painter and visual artist. And Genesis has partnered with us for the festival to do an incredible youth mentorship program. So through this program, the students were able to have master classes with Genesis. We took them to an incredible gallery in Tribeca. We took them out to dinner and really showed them and talked to them and listened to them to hear their dreams, their thoughts, their questions around what it means to be an artist and what it means to have a career as an artist. So we'll be celebrating those incredible young people. They're all rising seniors from Newark Public Schools at their art opening this Thursday. And all of that information, Ken, is on our website, newarkartsfestival.com.
I love it. Daryl, the nice thing about Newark being a large enough city, but not too big a city, is that while you have an event like this, as opposed to having it, say, in Manhattan, an event like this becomes sort of the all-encompassing thing in this city. I'm sure like Mayor Baraka is going to come out, and this becomes the city event. Whereas if it were in New York, it'd be one of 20 events happening in New York, right? So how big did you know when you work with this? How big does the NAF? How big is that for the city of New York?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. We're partnered with a coalition called Festivals United. So Newark is really a
Mhm.
city of festivals. It's becoming more and more known for that. So this partnership, I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of people, hundreds of artists, 5 jam-packed days of activation, partnership and coalition across many different city departments. So it's a big thing. And at the same time, to your point, right? Because the city is small enough, you can still pick up the phone and make a connection. You can still request a favor from across town. And for those of you who know me, you'll probably see me out running errands or riding my bike down Broad Street with sunflowers and artwork. So it's holistic and it's community, and at the same time, it's growing. And we want to hold space for all of that, and we are.
That is awesome. That is awesome. It's exciting. And we're in a time, of course, when arts um, are often framed by a lot of communities as a, well, it would be nice if we had the money, it would be nice if we had the time, but isn't it important that you make time and money for arts? Because otherwise, a city is just a city without the flavor of its art scene, right?
Art is essential. Okay, we are essential workers, right? If it artists make a city, there is no city without the arts, without visual art, without performance art, without literary art, without culinary art, right? The arts is essential. And for folks who might be listening, if you want your city, your township to stand out, get the artists involved, and I can guarantee you, you will see value that you've never seen before. You will see community the way you've never seen it before, and you will see transformation and joy the way you've never seen it before. So I'm art all day, every day, Ken, and I cannot express how important it is now more than ever across every sector and medium.
I love that you are in love with your city and the art and the whole scene. I could sense the joy popping out of you, and it's so nice, Daryl, to have you on. Once again, give them the website.
NorkArtsFestival.com.
And I know you're a local because you pronounce it like a local, Newark, as opposed to
I do.
Newark.
NORK.
I love it.
NorkArtsFestival.com. That's it, Ken.
I'm a Jersey boy. I'm with you. I'm with you, Daryl. All right, the Newark Arts or the Newark Arts Festival this Wednesday through Sunday, the 8th through the 12th. Daryl Stewart, our friend, Festival Director of NAF 2025, Inaugural Director of Programs for Newark Arts. God bless you, my friend. Have a wonderful time, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate it.
You bet. Have a great time this week. Oh man, I you got to take part in it. Newark is just a great city, and it has a lot of heart and soul, and it's the biggest in New Jersey, and there's a reason for it. So enjoy the history and the arts there. It is now 60 degrees at 8:01. We'll be back in 30 seconds, and when we come back, this marks the 75th anniversary of Peanuts. And fans across the country are celebrating in style with a nationwide listening party. We will have the details. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. A very good morning to you. 8:02 right now, Tuesday, October 7th, 2025. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, and we have phone lines wide open for you. 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. Intervals of clouds and sun early, becoming cloudy later. Warm and breezy, highs low 80s. Definitely does not feel like fall. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. Yeah, you walked outside this morning and went, wait a minute, it's not October. It feels even warmer than it did over the summer. So we're starting off very mild and it's going to feel quite warm this afternoon. But I think it's our last hurrah before some cooler weather arrives, at least for the next several days. Temperatures now start in the 60s. And again, this is measured before the sun is even influencing the temperature. So we will see numbers skyrocket into the low 80s today, feeling quite warm and humid. Already 14 degrees warmer at 8:03 this morning than this time yesterday in Morristown, 11 degrees warmer in Flemington, and even down the shore between 3 and 7 degrees warmer. So warm, it's a little muggy with that higher level of humidity, and it'll stay feeling quite warm in through this afternoon as all the sunshine works through today. Nothing more than a few high thin clouds at the moment taking over, but ultimately it's a southerly breeze that will promote that warm fetch of air to take over through this afternoon, even getting a little bit gusty this evening, up to about 30 miles per hour, before the wind shifts and blows in from the north and west by tomorrow afternoon into Thursday. That's what brings in our dry air. It's a cold front that drops the temperature quickly and makes it feel very refreshing and cool by Thursday. So for today, it's a warm one. We start off nice and mild. Temperatures, look at that, go all the way up into the low 80s there from Hackensack, even through Newark and down the shore. Toms River, 78 degrees with that wind blowing from the south right off of the water. A little further west of the Parkway inland, that's where you get to the low 80s. So the rain holds off until after dark, and when the rain gets going tonight, could be quite heavy at times. Maybe a few downpours in there as the front pushes through. Notice how it lasts through tomorrow morning. So we get a wet start to the day tomorrow, but it doesn't stay wet all day. In fact, the skies dry up by the time we get to probably 9 or 10 a.m. And then the sun returns shortly after lunchtime, bringing back that dry, cool, crisp feel into Thursday. So we start off Thursday morning at a much different note, 36 degrees up north and feeling even cool down the shore. It stays dry and chilly all throughout the day, probably stay in the 50s throughout our Thursday, and that'll be a little bit cooler than average. That's more like a November feel. So we go from what felt like the summer to what feels like late fall in just a matter of 24 hours, and it stays cool all throughout the day on Friday as well, with temperatures again holding in the 40s and 50s only. Then we head into Friday afternoon, and with a little bit of cloud cover working in, I still think we're sunny most of the day, but Friday again feels cool and dry, and it will stay that way with the sunshine in the northern half of the state and maybe some clouds working in down south. But beyond the much needed ½ to inch of rain that falls tonight into tomorrow, it dries out by tomorrow afternoon, so the day is certainly not lost. And then we enjoy the free fall down into the 40s overnight, only rebounding into the 60s for Thursday afternoon. So a nice, refreshing feel. I could feel it already, getting like the goosebumps just thinking about it, with that lovely way to enter the weekend, Ken.
No, you can't. That's air conditioning you're feeling right now, Mike. It is sticky, yes, indeed. And I'm, by the way, I'm in Fort Lauderdale at the moment, and it is not that much, the temperature is basically what it is up there. Oh, maybe a little warmer. It's about 77 right now, but the humidity is the same. Very sticky at this hour. All right, Mike, we will check back with you in a little bit. It is now 61 degrees in Trenton, New Jersey, and very, very humid today. And as you heard Mike say, it is not normal for this time of year, but the last hurrah. So we'll see what happens. In terms of traffic, we have an overturned vehicle. Pam, before you go to your other shot, an overturned vehicle just popped up on Route 206 northbound by North Main Street in Southampton Township, New Jersey. All lanes are closed. We'll see if we can get a camera for that area, but that's going to be an ugly mess to report. So again, that's an overturned vehicle, Route 206 northbound by North Main Street, Southampton Township. All lanes are closed. We have a disabled tractor trailer. Look at Route 3. This is Route 3 in the vicinity of the Hackensack River Bridge in Secaucus. 2 right lanes of 4 lanes blocked, and it's causing this absolute mess on Route 3, again, by Hackensack River Bridge. This is Route 3 eastbound. Try to avoid that at all costs. So this is as you're making your way into New York City. You're going to encounter that. You better give yourselves lots of extra travel time, again, due to the disabled tractor trailer causing that mess for us. We have a missing manhole cover now, Doremus Avenue southbound by Port Street in Newark. That's right in downtown Newark, and that's causing an absolute mess of traffic for your morning rush. Going down the Garden State Parkway a little bit, we have delays on the GSP northbound from south of the interchange or exit 89A, I should say, Route 70 in Lakewood to north of 90. So we're talking a 2 to 3 mile delay right now, and that's all due to volume. And now we have, let's see, what just popped up. We have several things that just popped up, folks. Bear with me, excuse me. We now have delays of the Holland Tunnel, South Tunnel eastbound by the Jersey side in Jersey City. All lanes are open, but the travel time has just popped up to 30 minutes from 25. All right, that's just volume making your way to Manhattan. It's about 30 minutes at the Lincoln. No major problems, just volume. And we take a look at the GWB upper and lower level. This is a mess. And this is all volume. Upper level on the right, lower on the left. And you're talking about 40 to 45 minutes into Manhattan by the GWB. It is 8:08, and this year marks the 75th anniversary of Ding, 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 Peanuts. And fans across the country are celebrating in style with a nationwide listening party dedicated to the music of Peanuts composer Vince Guaraldi. Right here in Dover, New Jersey, Factory Records is taking part in this national celebration with a special event that invites folks to relive the music, the magic from Linus and Lucy. Natasha Borchard, a marketing manager and event coordinator at Factory Records, joins us this morning. Good morning to you. Nice to have you on, Natasha.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Oh, this is so fun. You know, you talk about Peanuts, it brings an amazing immediate smile to the face. So how did Factory Records get involved in this nationwide celebration?
Well, this is something we do every year. We celebrate the Peanuts. But this year is really special, as you said, because it's the 75th anniversary. And basically, the Peanuts team reaches out to us and they let us know when they want to have their party. And we kind of set something up that works for us. And we let all our customers know. And they always love it so much because I think the Peanuts is something that kind of just brings families together. So.
And Factory Records is one of the last holdout record stores, although now there's sort of a comeback of vinyl. But you guys, you guys are really there, and you've maintained it, which is so cool. What do you think makes Vince Guaraldi's sound so timeless and emotionally resonant? Is it the piano? Is it the kind of the cool jazz of the '60s? You know, what do you think makes it so special?
I think definitely that jazzy sound makes it really, really nostalgic. And no matter how old you are, everybody knows the Peanuts. Everybody remembers watching them on Christmas and Thanksgiving. And so it's just the sound itself is so timeless. And I don't think it's something that'll ever go out of style.
And it's so innocent. It's just little boys and girls and a little dog and playing games and doing silly stuff the kids do without anger, without hate. It's really just silly, childlike fun, right? It's like this was before all the controversies came about, and it was just kids being kids. That's the innocence of it. For those, by the way, who've never been to a listening party, and I was a radio DJ for years, so I used to go to them all the time, but especially a listening party centered around jazz. What can people expect October 17th?
So on October 17th, if you do register to come to our listening party, you kind of get to sit in our lounge, which is where I am right now. We have a lot of comfy seating and hang out with the community and other music lovers. We personally try and make our listening parties a little more interactive. So we'll be playing games. Our party is specifically going to be a costume party so that we can get families involved and make it a lot more fun.
I love it. So talk about that. Will people dress up as Peanuts characters?
I hope so. I know I will be, yeah.
What are you going as?
I'm going as Snoopy, but I'm going to be the Joe Cool version.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yes. Google the Joe Cool version of Snoopy and you'll see what we're talking about, because Snoopy has the cool glasses and right there's the dark shades. Those are very, very cool. And you have giveaways too at the event. Talk about your giveaways.
We do. So we get a ton of promo, as well as I try and work to make some fun music themed prizes, like drawing on some old scratched records. And what we do is we'll either raffle them off or we'll do some fun trivia that has to go with the listening party, in this case, the Peanuts. And whoever wins gets the prize that we offer.
I love it. And this is also about celebrating physical media, especially vinyl, right? So why do you think so many people are turning back to records, especially younger people? What's the attraction to go back to vinyl?
I think it's something that just connects everyone. A lot of the young people who come in our store come in because they just inherited their parents' collection or their grandparents' collection. and it kind of makes you want to go out and buy records yourself so that you have something to pass on to your children or, you know, to your grandchildren. And so it's so nice just to see all these young people coming in and kind of keeping up that tradition.
And you know, we've had Ethan on before, the owner, and we talked about how, like, when I was a kid, in New Rochelle, New York, growing up, the big excitement was, and you're way too young to know about this, but the big excitement was on a Saturday morning coercing my mother, if she had a free minute, to take me down on Main Street, and we had a little record store. Every town had a record store, okay? And you had sections where you had 45s, which for those who don't know, 45s are that big, and they're called 45s because it was 45 revolutions per minute to get the sound. And then you had LPs, which were the 12-inch size, and those were 33 and a third revolutions per minute. I mean, you literally, that's how we measured records, because that's how many revolutions you had in order to get the sound to sound normal. And then you had 12 inches, the 12-inch records, the same size, but that was just one song on a 12-inch. But this is what I was raised with. You walked into a record store like that, you smelled the vinyl, it gave you excitement. You just went through thousands of records to find the one that you wanted. You didn't understand what some of these groups were. But I'm so glad that Factory Records is bringing that back for people, so that it's not something you just download online. It's an experience. So tell us about Factory Records as a shop and how events like this fits into your mission as the ultimate local business.
Yeah, so I'm really glad you used the word experience, because that's exactly what we're trying to curate here for our customers, and to make it just not just listening to music. You come into Factory Records and it is a humongous warehouse. It used to be a framing factory and now we've repurposed it. So you come in and it is floor to ceiling vinyl, CDs, DVDs, anything you can dream of, we have it. And we have some listening stations, so you can come in, listen to some of the used records, see what you like, what you don't like. And we have a lounge in here for people to hang out, listen to their music. And I think the biggest thing about Factory Records is we want it to be a community and an experience and a fun place to go, not just a place to come in, pick up your record and leave, but a place where you could talk to other people about music, where you can share your passion for music.
I love it. And what's first of all, do people need to RSVP? Is it open to anyone who wants to stop by? And then what's a website for more info?
Yes, so people do have to RSVP. It's a completely free event. If you go onto our Instagram, the link in our bio will take you right to where you need to RSVP. We are Factory Record Shops on Instagram.
Awesome. All right. The nationwide listener party, October 17th. It's going to be held here in New Jersey. You'll want to go to Factory Records in Dover to take part. Natasha Borchard and am I pronouncing your name right, or is it Borchard?
Yes,
I want to make
it's
sure I get it
Borchard.
right.
You are, yeah.
Borchard. Because I have relatives who are Boucher. That's why. And if you pronounce it
Mhm.
Boucher, they hit you in the head. So anyway, you are the marketing manager and event coordinator at Factory Records. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and have a wonderful time with this event. It sounds like a great time.
Thank you for having me.
You bet, Natasha. Have a great day. And when we come back, AI quickly becoming one of the biggest tools in recruitment, but also one of the most misunderstood. You're watching ONNJ Mornings at 8:16. We'll be back in 30.
We need to move into clean power. It's going to cost you an arm and a leg, but if you're a good person, you'll do it.
Unbelievable. Talk about out of touch. I'm Jack Chitterelli. Politicians like Mike Shell and Phil Murphy just don't get it. They're making New Jersey unaffordable, especially for the middle class. We need a change. My plan brings down property taxes, lowers electricity bills, and cuts your income taxes. Because you should keep more of what you earn. It's time to fix New Jersey. When I'm governor, we will.
Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings for your Tuesday, 8/17. Intervals of clouds and sun early, becoming cloudy later, warm and breezy, highs in the low 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the midsummer Garden State forecast for you. Good morning, Mike.
Little bit of, yes, a little bit of a summery feel. Good morning to you, Ken. You know, it starts off feeling nice and warm this morning. The sunshine will bring those temperatures well up into the 80s. And there's so much wind, in fact, there's a small craft advisory because, you know, you could go out on a boat today. A lot of folks down the shore don't take the boats out of the water until Columbus Day. So here we are, starting off the tail end of summer, feeling quite warm. And yet the weather's going to be great to do so, minus a little bit of wind. So with the clear sky this morning, we have lovely sunshine warming us into the low 80s across Middlesex and Ocean County. Back over toward Mercer County, you have New Brunswick, 83 degrees, Roosevelt, 82, Princeton, 82 degrees. Lots of sunshine today and feeling fantastic with lots of clear sky. So here's all of the rain that's moving across the Midwest. That is headed toward New Jersey and gives us a little bit of that wet weather into the overnight tonight. But it's this main front drawn here in the clouds that provides the cool, dry air that will allow for a very big drop in not only temperatures tomorrow, but humidity as well. And you'll really feel that by the end of the day. First, it gets very
And around
muggy
what
later
time do you
on this
think we're going to go
afternoon
live?
into tonight. Look at this muggy weather that sticks around
Just
throughout
take
this
a
evening.
couple
Tom's
minutes.
River getting
Wonderful.
up into the 60s and feeling quite humid into early
Beautiful.
tomorrow
Thank
morning.
you.
Then the dry weather takes over, and you can see that dry
Okay.
weather moving on in with the shades of yellow and
Thank
orange.
you.
That will make it feel quite pleasant and really
Sorry to
bone
listen to all
dry
that,
into
Kyle.
Thursday morning. Look at how
Mildly
these temperatures
entertaining, I
get into
hope.
the 20s. Really dry by the early morning on Thursday, making it feel like fall is here and that crisp air is in the air. So then we head into the first part of the day on Thursday, and it's still dry, feeling quite nice. Now, the trouble comes this weekend where you see this band of clouds take over, moving in from offshore with some bands of rain. This could be a tropical system that stays offshore but comes close enough that it influences our weather for Saturday with some extra clouds and wind. And then by Sunday, might have some rain offshore. It's kind of too early to tell how far inland that rain will travel. We certainly could use the rain, but obviously nobody really likes it on a weekend, specifically our first fall feeling weekend where that cool weather will be in place. So it's one to watch. You can kind of see the swirl here offshore with the circulation. Depending on how close it comes, will ultimately determine our weather. Doesn't look like it's a direct hit. Most of the energy stays either south or out to sea as that high pressure kind of blocks it and kicks it out, but it might influence our weather into next week. So we'll keep an eye on that going into the second half of the weekend. As for now, plan on mostly cloudy skies on Saturday, especially the high, thin variety, keeping temperatures in the 60s. It'll feel much cooler. And then for Sunday, with that gusty northeasterly breeze, again, depending on how close that system gets, could see some rain develop by the end of the weekend. So keeping an eye on this weekend, but other than that, looking forward to that dry, cool fall feel, the crispness in the air, all things apple and pumpkin going from this point forward, Ken.
I know you said crispness. I thought you said Christmas for a second.
Christmas.
Just for a second. I thought soon enough we'll be saying that. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right,
Mhm.
yeah, and Pam in the ear saying, "Can't wait." Yes, indeed. All right, Mike, we'll check back, sir. Thank you. It is 61 degrees right now in Trenton and 60 degrees in northern New Jersey. Lots of traffic to talk about. Let's take a look at the New Jersey Turnpike. This is, let's see, of course, it just updated as I'm talking to you. So we have delays on the Turnpike, Hudson County Extension eastbound from interchange 14, which is by I-78 to east of Newark Bay Bridge in Newark. There's a 2.5 mile delay due to volume. It's actually looking better right now than it was 30 seconds ago. 30 seconds ago, it was absolutely stopped. But so maybe whatever was causing the volume has moved. But you can see nonetheless, there's a lot of volume there to report. We have a crash now, Route 4 eastbound from east of Jones Road in Englewood to Route 9W Fort Lee. All lanes are open. Just very, very slow moving through there. In Newark, we have a missing manhole cover, and that's on Doremus Avenue, right in downtown Newark, southbound by Port Street. The left lane is blocked, and that's causing a real backup mess through downtown. And on Route 3, a disabled tractor trailer eastbound by Hackensack River Bridge in Secaucus. 2 of the 4 lanes are closed, causing about 2.5 to 3 miles of delays on Route 3. The approaches to the Hudson River right now, Lincoln and Holland reporting 30 to 35 minutes. GWB upper and lower levels both have been a mess all morning long. You can see upper on the right is not moving at all. The lower on the left is moving very slowly. So we're told it's about a 35 to 40-minute crossover time into Manhattan via the GWB. 8:23 is our time. AI, artificial intelligence, quickly becoming one of the biggest tools in recruitment, but also one of the most misunderstood. A recent study shows that while 9 out of 10 hiring managers now use AI in some capacity in some part of the hiring process, only a third fully understand how it works. And on the flip side, job seekers are interested, but often unsure of how to start using AI. Joining us now is Kyle M.K., Senior Talent Strategy Advisor at Indeed, best-selling author and workplace thought leader, to share how AI tools like Indeed Talent Scout and Indeed Career Scout are reshaping hiring while keeping the human element at the center. Good morning to you, Kyle.
Good morning, Ken. Thanks for having me.
You bet. So, we hear so much about AI. We've been talking about it on this show and how all the AI centers need their own nuclear power plants and whatnot. It is such a big next step in computing. What are the biggest challenges now facing job seekers and employers today, and how does AI play a part?
Well, right now, hiring is very complicated for both sides, where job seekers are often stuck and overwhelmed, and employers are losing a lot of time and money just trying to find the right candidates. So Indeed is using AI to make that process easier, faster, and more human for everyone by freeing us up to do what humans do best, and that is connect with one another and build those hopefully long-term relationships.
Yeah, until the machines take over and just exterminate us. Um, and that's coming. You got to watch like 2001: A Space Odyssey and understand that HAL is going to take over our lives. AI is obviously playing a big role in recruitment. I know a couple of corporate exec friends who say that without AI, they wouldn't be able to weed through hundreds and hundreds of applicants. But a lot of people don't fully understand how it gets integrated. So walk us through how AI can help the recruiter and the recruitee.
Well, the cool thing about Indeed Talent Scout is that an employer just has to upload a job description, maybe include some notes on the types of talent that they're looking for. And Indeed Talent Scout essentially just surfaces all of the right candidates directly to that recruiter. So they don't have to sift through hundreds or even thousands of resumes to find the right folks. And we'll even help them craft a message to reach out to those candidates so that way they can focus on the connection piece much quicker.
So it's really important, though, in terms of how the recruiter inputs the parameters. Isn't that essential?
Yeah, the job description also is of what we've been using for decades, and so it's using the job description as well as what the recruiter puts in manually in terms of the type of talent that they are looking for.
Now, I know there are a lot of people who complain about companies losing the human touch in hiring, but Indeed works to try to prevent that from happening, right? To try to make sure that humans are part of it the whole way.
Right. There's not a lot of human connection in the traditional hiring process because recruiters are spending more time only reaching out to candidates that they see are a right fit. And they're not getting to many of the candidates that are applying. So you've got highly qualified talent that's just not being contacted in the first place. And so what this does is it kind of mediates and helps both the job seeker and the employer understand why we believe that they'd be a good fit for each other. So we're pretty transparent in terms of how the algorithm works. And then we are surfacing those matches up to each of those parties as quickly as possible so that they can focus on connecting with one another and not having to be experts in search.
So, Kyle, let's just say today something happens. I decide to change careers, or I'm let go from my job, and I need to start the search, okay, the big search. What can I do as a person who isn't that familiar with AI to get AI to give me that advantage to help me find a job? What's the first thing I should do, like right now, to start?
First thing you could do is just download the free Indeed app and sign up for a free Indeed profile. It's going to ask you a number of questions like what your preferences are, maybe what your work history is, as well as, of course, what your skill sets are. And what's really great about Career Scout for job seekers is that Indeed is a big proponent of what we call skills first hiring. So we're not just looking at the job titles that you've had in the past or even the education that you have, but what capabilities do you have because of those jobs that you've held or because of that education? And we're taking AI to identify what those skill sets are and where they can be best applied. And so we'll give you lots of different options that will use your full self, not just parts of you.
You know, Kyle, thank you for saying that. Several years ago, when I left ABC after 20 years, I remember um, trying to apply. I wanted to be like a spokesperson for a company or something like that. And I remember speaking to a recruiter, and he said, "Well, what is I now, mind you, I've spent 35 years as a television and radio news anchor, okay, going and speaking to tens of thousands of people, announcing things at stadiums, communicating. That's what I do for a living at the #1 market in America." And this is what the recruiter said to me. Well, how does what you have translate into being a marketing person? And I looked at him. I wanted to jump through this. It was a Zoom. I wanted to jump through the screen and choke him. I said, "Are you out of your mind? I have like it's equivalent of 100 PhDs in communications versus the average person. Are you kidding me?" But this is why I thought maybe we do need AI, because obviously some people don't get it. I think his idea of what a TV news anchor does is I sit there and I read papers, and that we're not communicators. That's what we do. So so you're saying that AI can cut through that and look at the skills the individual has as opposed to the title and get right to it.
Exactly right. And we're also explaining why we think it's a good match. So we're not just putting a resume in front of someone and hoping that they are drawing the line and identifying what makes a good match. We're telling them this is why we believe it's a good match. And as a spokesperson, I could say that you could very easily do what I do. I don't think I could ever do what you do. So I totally believe that is a transferable skill. And I'm sorry that recruiter gave you a hard time.
Well, maybe he was trying to see if I was paying attention. I thought about that too, to see if I had an answer to him. But and you do quite a nice job, Kyle, I might say, and I'm not just blowing smoke. You've been able to explain AI and how it works with Indeed very, very well. So once again, give the website for everybody to find out more with Indeed, if you could, please.
Yeah, for employers, it's indeed.com/employers. And for job seekers, if you're looking for a job, just download the Indeed app and set up a free account.
I love it. I love it. Please come back, because I know so many people who could use your services, and they need to hear more about it. Kyle MK, Senior Talent Strategy Advisor at Indeed, also best-selling author and workplace thought leader. Thank you for joining us, my friend. It was good to have you on today.
Thank you very much, Ken.
You bet. And when we come back, intervals of clouds and sun, we'll talk about the detailed Garden State forecast. It doesn't feel like fall. It's going to feel quite sticky, but that'll change as the days go on. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Of course, we will take your calls as well at 888-658-0234. You're watching ONNJ Mornings, and we will be right back.
Our Stable Life, New Jersey's first equine wellness center. Are you or a loved one suffering from PTSDs, trauma, or life challenges? Consider non-riding equine therapy, where the soul is touched by the presence of a horse with a certified counselor. Our Stable Life is a non-profit at Bergen Equestrian Center in Leonia, New Jersey. We partner with individuals, groups, and agencies to help people recover from addiction, trauma, phobias, and more. Explore equine therapy for healing. BergenEquestrianCenter.com.
And a very good morning to you. It is 8:32, Tuesday, October 7th, 2025. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. Our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you feel about the stories we've been talking about. 888-658-0234. Intervals of clouds and sun early, becoming cloudy later. Definitely does not feel like fall. Warm and breezy today with highs in the low 80s. And here is meteorologist Mike Favetta with the July Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
July. Yeah, that's right. It was just a touch cooler in July, but not by much, considering how warm it'll feel today. We had some very mild weather to start the day already, some thin clouds working in from the west. You can see them here on the visible satellite, kind of shielding that sun, giving way to some more clouds as the day goes along. But we get a fair amount of sun across New Jersey this morning and to the rest of the morning, especially with nothing more than some thin clouds through the first part of the day, likely overcast as we head into this evening. Temperatures down the shore, though, responding to that sun today, warming into the mid and upper 70s, 80 degrees west of the Parkway. How about all the way up to 82 in Salem and Camden and 81 in Glassboro? So lovely amounts of weather, amounts of sun and warmth today. Just a great feeling all around. Look at that, 13 degrees above average, 83 our afternoon high today, where we should be at 70. That's just 5 degrees away from the record. Sunrise late this morning at 7 a.m., also an earlier sunset at 6:28. So you can see zooming in here, a lot of the thicker, heavier clouds off to the west. They move across New Jersey and give us that wet finish to the night. I think the daylight hours will be dry today, but once that rain gets going, could put down up to an inch of rainfall, especially north of 195. This is predominantly happening across the northern part of the state. Although southern New Jersey certainly taps into some rain, it's not as substantial. Half inch to an inch is a great number considering how much of a rainfall deficit we've been in. Keeping an eye to the tropics, there's this system which may give us our next named tropical system over the next few days, one to watch, and then watching some activity in the Caribbean. But beyond that, it's quiet right now, nothing new named in the Atlantic. Our forecast is all eyes looking toward that western area of New Jersey, which sees the rain come down first shortly after dark, around 7, 8 p.m., and then most of it falling right before daybreak tomorrow. So it's a nighttime rain. Gives us a good clip of wet weather. Exits by tomorrow morning, say 9, 10 a.m., just after the after the morning rush. We'll see the wet weather depart, and then clearing occurs just in time for lunchtime. But that's also when the dry northwesterly wind takes over and brings back a lovely dry feel, making it feel chilly and cool and crisp and really, really pleasant going into the rest of the week. So again, here's our rain. That's the front drawn in blue, clearing out all the clouds and showers and providing a lovely round of dry weather with a high pressure that settles in and parks itself over New Jersey for Thursday and Friday. So this does two things. Keeps our air running nice and dry and skies clear, but it also prevents that potential tropical system offshore from coming too close to New Jersey until the end of the weekend, kind of delays its arrival, if any. And it's really a wait and see if we get much, if any, rain at all this weekend, depending on how strong that high pressure is. So after the rain tonight, we're back to dry weather tomorrow. After a dry day finish tomorrow, we turn sunny and cooler for Thursday and Friday, only in the low 60s as a high, 20 degrees cooler from today's highs. And then we're back to some thin clouds this weekend in northern New Jersey with that cool weather through Monday. I think that there's a better chance of rain after the dry spell Thursday and Friday. Down the shore, Saturday, Sunday, and especially Sunday and Monday may see some wet weather if that system tracks a little further north. Right now we're on the cusp, so we'll have to wait and see the end of the forecast period, ultimately what happens there. But these tropical systems, they tend to be a little tricky, if they form, where they form, how quickly they intensify. So it's one to watch as we wait and see for the second half of the weekend, if it'll be a good pumpkin picking weekend or maybe, stay inside because it's too rainy and windy to go out.
And by the way, just so you know, Mike, down here in Florida where I am for the week, there are actual pumpkin farms where you actually can pick the pumpkin off the vine, as opposed to the farm right
What a
in New
concept.
Jersey, where imagine where they have the big boxes of pumpkins they throw out in the field and then charge you $50 to go pick them up off the dirt. I don't know, maybe it's
And I
me.
thought
I'm
of
a
that
big fan.
yesterday, entering the grocery store yesterday. Big, nice, fat, round pumpkin, $5. 2 for $10. Now that's a deal.
So you know what you do? Here, I got a concept. Shh. Cover your kids' ears right now. Buy yourself a couple of big pumpkins. Put them out in the backyard and say, "Hey, Joey, you want to go pick a pumpkin? Let's go pick a pumpkin. Yeah. Oh, you found the biggest pumpkin, Joey. Do I have it? See, I'm not even a dad. Do I have it?
It works. It
I'm
works.
waiting.
I think that's what Halloween is missing. Another marketing ploy to get like some kind of character in there to go drop the pumpkins like the pumpkin fairy. I don't know. It's workable. We'll retool it, but I think it's possible.
All right, there you go. See that? I'm learning. I'm learning. 58 years old. I'm finally learning. This is what you got to do. All right, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. There's the key. That's the key. Get the pumpkin at the market for $5 and just lay it out in the field in the backyard yourself and let the kids go pick it out of the backyard. You don't have to pay $50 for entry to a farm. All right, Mike. Thank you, sir. It is 61 degrees now in Trenton. Definitely warm and sticky this morning, as Mike was saying. In terms of traffic, we do have a lot of that to report on. Let's see, we're going to go, this is going to be the Route 3 cam, Pam, we're going to do first. All right, so here's Route 3. Thank you, Pam. Route 3 right now, we have an absolute mess. This has been going on for a couple of hours. Look at this. This is by the Hackensack River Bridge as you make your way eastbound. This is in Secaucus. 2 of the 4 lanes are closed due to a disabled tractor trailer, and this has been causing about a 3-mile delay for the better part of an hour. So pack your patience, give yourselves extra travel time if you're taking Route 3. Try to avoid that. In fact, you're better off taking I-80 or one of the other east-west roadways to get into Manhattan if you can. We have a disabled, let's see, outside agency assist, it says on the Jersey Turnpike. That means I have to bring in a tow truck from the outside, because whatever it is that's causing this issue I'm about to tell you is too big. So they need to bring in an outside agency. It's a New Jersey Turnpike by Route 33 from Interchange 8 East Windsor by the exit ramp. It's all closed to traffic through 8 o'clock tonight. So just give it up. If you're down by Interchange 8 on the Jersey Turnpike, it's going to be an absolute mess through 8 o'clock tonight. So something happened. They're not giving the details, but just avoid it if you can. On the Garden State Parkway now, we have a disabled vehicle, GSP southbound, and that is south of exit 82, Route 37, east in Toms River with the left lane blocked. We have debris now reported on the Turnpike Outer Roadway northbound, north of Interchange 13A by Newark Liberty International Airport, 1 and 9 in Elizabeth with the center lane blocked. So something fell off a truck, obviously. And then we have a mess on Route 4. Take a look at Route 4 by Route 17. This is an absolute mess of bumper-to-bumper traffic, if we could bring that up. Look at that. Maybe it's lightened a little bit. Yeah, it is getting better. That's a good thing. For about an hour, that wasn't moving at all. So that's not so bad. Maybe that's an alternative for you. Your Hudson River crossings, the Lincoln and Holland are both reporting 30 minutes. So the GWB upper and lower level have been just a nightmare all morning long. Take a look at the 8095 approach. You'll see on the right side, the upper level, lower on the left, and you're talking 40 to 45 minutes into Manhattan. It is 8:40, and Israelis are prepared to mourn the dead today as the nation marks 2 years since Hamas's October 7th attack plunged the region into a devastating war, where you had Hamas members going door to door, pounding on the doors, looking to kill Jews as they answered their door. Today, Israel and Hamas are holding indirect talks in Egypt. In the Gaza Strip, where Israel's retaliatory offensive has killed tens of thousands of people and razed entire towns and cities, those who can are fleeing another Israeli invasion of Gaza City, while others are sheltering in place. Many are unable to make the difficult and costly journey to the south, so they just have to endure whatever bombardment is now going on. But remember, it's their own begging because of what occurred, because they attacked Israel unprovoked. It has been 2 years since thousands of Hamas-led militants poured into that southern Israeli area after a surprise barrage of rockets. They stormed army bases, farming communities, and an outdoor music festival, slaughtering some 1,200 innocents, mostly civilians, including women, children, and older adults, burning many alive, raping Israeli women, and killing their babies right in front of them. They abducted 251 others, most of whom have since been released in ceasefires or other deals. 48 remain inside Gaza, about 20 of them believed to be by Israel to be alive. Hamas has said it will release them only in exchange for a lasting ceasefire and an Israeli withdrawal. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to continue the war until all the captives are returned and Hamas has been disarmed. 8:41 and 8:41 right now, and President Donald Trump is facing legal challenges from several blue state governors over his efforts to deploy National Guard troops across state lines. Many critics are saying the move pushes the limits of presidential power, although the Constitution is pretty clear about it. His plan includes sending California Guard members to Oregon and Texas troops to Illinois, prompting lawsuits and a constitutional showdown over states' rights and military use on U.S. soil. There is the Posse Comitatus Act, though. The Constitution does make provisions for the president to do this. As the legal battle unfolds, the courts and possibly Congress will be forced to confront some questions about federalism, civilian control, and the role of military in American cities. Just remember something, folks. Whenever Democrats are in charge of the federal government, there's never an issue about using the federal officials and executive orders. The media never says a damn word about it, okay? Remember when we had to go into, and properly so, into Alabama and Mississippi to integrate schools and buses? There was never an issue. It was Democrat on Democrat at the time, but there was never an issue. You used the federal government because you had local officials ignoring federal law. That's the rule. So if you are part of the United States and you want to try to evade federal law, screw you. Federal government has to come in and protect its power. And so this is what happens. So when you have the fat tub of crap, Governor Pritzker in Illinois, and others saying, I dare you, I'm not scared of you. Okay, it's not about being scared. You are a part of the United States. If you want to secede, go through the process. You could secede. We really don't need you. Chicago's a hole. It's a mess. So if you want to secede, go. But you got to go through a process, you fat tub. So go through the process, you obnoxious piece of crap. He is the son of the Hyatt hotel chain family. So he's a billionaire born with a silver spoon in his mouth, had white privilege from the minute he came out of his mother's womb, and he thinks he could speak on behalf of the everyday man. No, you can't. It is 8:44. The government shutdown enters its sixth day with no agreement between party leaders. Democrats want Obamacare subsidies extended, and Republicans will not negotiate until the government reopens. After yesterday's vote, it seems no deal is in sight. This is being called the Schumer shutdown because, remember, it was only a handful of Democrats in the Senate that forced the shutdown of the United States government. The Republicans wanted to continue to keep things open until they could come to an agreement, but the Democrats refused. It was only a handful of them. Every Republican was in lockstep to keep the government open. So the left could try to call this a Republican shutdown all they want, but it just isn't. It's just an absolute fact. It's not. 8:44. When we come back, intervals of clouds and sun early. We're going to talk more about the weather. It'll be warm and breezy, highs in the low 80s. The full Garden State forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta. You're watching ONNJ Mornings, stream daily on Roku, Fire TV, News on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, Facebook, and X. We're also streamed live on Rumble and Twitch. Just go to twitch.tv/ONNJ. 8:45. We'll be back in 30. And welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. It is Tuesday, 8:46, and we're going to have intervals of clouds and sun today, early at least, becoming cloudy later. It'll be warm, breezy, a little sticky, highs in the low 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Final check in the morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ken. Yeah, it's the humidity that's very unusual, especially stepping outside and going, wait a minute, it's not October 7th. It feels like more like August 7th, given the heat and humidity today. And that'll be the case with highs climbing into the upper or mid to upper 80s there in Hackensack, 84 as your high. I think the clouds take over by the early afternoon, preventing us from getting into, say, the mid and upper 80s, much more beyond 83 in Wayne and 80 in West Milford, but still some haze developing back over toward Morristown, 82 as you are high. This week, keeping an eye on what still is a pretty substantial drought, a moderate drought across northern New Jersey. Hasn't reached the severe criteria, and I don't think it will just because we get so much rain later on tonight, picking up about an inch, which will bring up these percentages and even increase the deficit that right now is running 2 to 4 inches across that darkest shade in northern New Jersey, anywhere from 1 to 2 inches right down the turnpike. We could use some tropical moisture too, and while there may be some tropical moisture that arrives this weekend, there's one system that we're watching right now down in the Atlantic Basin, excuse me, that works its way up and offshore by this weekend. But there's another system that may give us some tropical activity and some moisture by Sunday. It's one to watch. As far as the rest of the week into next week, October is looking to feel quite warm, and there are increased chances of wet weather. You can see that here up and down the East Coast, especially at the shore. Not necessarily where the water is needed, but we'll take every drop we can get. After the rain ends by tomorrow late morning, the sunshine returns, so your Wednesday is not a wash. Most of this rain falls later tonight. We're dry all day on Thursday and Friday with a much cooler feel. You'll feel the chill in the air Thursday morning, down in the 30s across western sections of Sussex County, even up toward Hundred County. And our forecast, even through Saturday and Sunday, should be dry for northern New Jersey, but maybe a little bit of wet weather inching into the picture down across the shore points as that system works in off the coast. I think Friday and Saturday, again, feeling dry, but with some high thin clouds that move in, depending on where that tropical system sets up, could give us a little bit of wet weather into early next week. So time will tell. We'll have more forecast updates, and you can always check them out on our website, ONNJ.com. You get the live weather loop. You can even see it on our live streaming channel, weather updates throughout the day. So keep you ahead of some wet weather potential this weekend, Ken.
Mike, how do you spell ONNJ?
I got to look that one up. I got to ask Google.
All right, sir. See, I just can't let you go. That's it. You're done for the day, and I will not let you go. Much appreciated, Mike. We'll check again mañana. Have a great one, sir. Thank you very much. You bet. It is, yes, 60, what do we have? 61 degrees still in Trenton. It's been the same temperature all morning, but as Mike said, sticky. So the humidity has just been up there, and it feels warmer than 61 as a result. Looking at some of the area roadways now. Let's go to the New Jersey Turnpike. This is on, there is debris now reported on the Turnpike outer roadway northbound. North of interchange 13A by Newark Liberty International Airport 1 and 9 in Elizabeth with the center lane blocked. And this is what it's causing. Look at that mess of traffic right now. We also have an outside agency assist reported on the New Jersey Turnpike, a little south of that in the vicinity of Route 33 from interchange 8, which is Heightstown in East Windsor Township. The exit ramp is closed to traffic, and that's going to be the case through 8 o'clock tonight. Up on Route 4, eastbound from east of Jones Road in Englewood to 9W in Fort Lee, all lanes are open, but we do have a crash, and that's causing people to swerve around, causing a lot of delays there. And the Hudson River crossings right now, Lincoln and Holland both reporting 25 to 30 minutes. GWV upper and lower levels both pretty slow. Upper level is on the right, lower on the left, and they're telling us 35 to 40 minutes into Manhattan. It is 8:50, and this year's Go Gala honors, I should say, the Wrexham AFC Foundation. What inspired that recognition, and how does this work align with the mission? That is the big question. So let us welcome right now our special guest who's with us. And of course, look at this. I'm scrambling because I have a computer glitch. So let me just welcome our guest right now. Forgive me, literally, Scott Pfeiffer. Sorry, Scott. As I'm talking to you live and bringing you on, my computer crashed literally in the last 8 minutes of the program. But good morning, Scott. Good to have you on with us.
Good morning. Good to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
You bet. You know it's live TV when that happens. So let's talk about Go Gala. Yes, the Go Gala honors the Wrexham AFC Foundation. So what inspired that recognition, and how does the work align with the mission?
Yes, this year is our 18th gala. It's coming up on Friday, the 17th, and we're honoring Ryan Reynolds and Rob Mack and the Wrexham AFC Foundation. If you've ever seen that show, welcome to Wrexham. You know it's a show about community. It's about grassroots and listening to the people on the ground and helping lift up a community. And that's very much what Go Campaign is about. We work with grassroots local heroes all around the world who are transforming the lives of children by giving opportunities to them, whether it be through education or medical care or vocational training or basic human needs such as shelter, food sustainability, et cetera. And so it was such a natural fit for us to honor Wrexham this year because we have the same sensibilities that every child deserves to realize his or her potential in life. And it's very easy to be able to help a child get the life that they deserve.
That's amazing. You guys are just absolutely amazing for what you do and deserve mega applause. It's a lot of hard work, and I would imagine the need is probably greater than ever. And as you look to the year ahead, what are Go Campaign's top priorities to expand the reach and support even more, to support even more children?
Yeah, our mission is always simple, is to help as many vulnerable children as we can. And the way we can do that is obviously by more donations, because we pride ourselves on cutting out the red tape and being that option for you. If you just want to help and make sure that your money is going directly to help a kid the next day, that's where you come to us. And so we offer that ability. We started out helping just 20 kids 19 years ago, and now we've helped over 450,000 children across 40 countries, including many here in our own country in the USA, where kids need so much. And so it's very direct, and we welcome people into our family. And so I just encourage people. Our mission is always to get more eyes, to get people to go to our website, gocampaign.org, learn how they can become part of our family, because we really are truly a family, and work together to give kids around the world the opportunities that we'd want for all our children, for a better future, for our city, our country, our world.
And that's really what it's about. You got to take care of the next generation. That's the only reason why we're put on this planet, right? To make sure the next generation is taken care of and carries it all on for us. And you guys, as you mentioned, it's 2 decades. The Go campaign has been there. You guys have been doing this. And Go, for those who don't realize, stands for Giving Opportunity. You've been transforming the lives of such vulnerable children around the world with grassroots partnerships and direct community impact. So what are some of those partnerships? Give some examples for people who don't understand what that means.
Yeah, well, one of the things I love about what we do at Go Campaign is that the work is so diverse, because we don't ever go in and tell a community what they need. We find people on the ground and we listen to them. We listen more than we talk. And I think we all should be doing that today, right? Just listening to people. And so we find these amazing local heroes. And so if you're interested in helping girls, if that's your interest, we have a portfolio of girls projects that you could choose from. If you're interested in helping kids here in the USA, you could look through our projects of programs here helping kids in our own country. Maybe you're interested in Africa, or you're interested in music programs or art programs. There's so many ways you can transform a children's life. It's not a one-size-fits-all model anywhere, right? And so we give you that opportunity to be able to plug in a way that really interests you. And so we have, for example, there's a program in East Africa that's working with special needs children with autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy. And they're turning these kids into breadwinners. Kids who were tossed aside and who thought were useless are now, the breadwinners for their families. We have kids in Harlem who, weren't able to read, are now accessing books and learning about the love of literacy, and then going on to do better in school. And so, it's so powerful when you can see how a child's life can be transformed when you just give them that opportunity, that mentorship, those tools that they need. And so we have so many different ways that that's being done around the world that you can find and find what speaks to you. And so I think that's what makes Go Campaign unique and really gives anyone an opportunity to be able to come in and join us.
And Scott, you have this big event, this gala in Los Angeles on October 17th with one of my favorite people on the planet. I mean, Ryan Reynolds. Who doesn't love Ryan Reynolds? You have to really search deep in a dark, cold soul if you don't love Ryan Reynolds. He's one of the honorees, of course. Talk about the October 17th event in LA. And by the way, it's a good excuse to fly out to LA and buy some tickets to help raise money for the Wrexham AFC Foundation and the ambassadors. Of course, Rob McElhenney also being honored. So let's talk about the event. How hard is it to put something like that together and get these honorees to be on board?
Well, it's not hard to get people on board, because once people find out about us, they want to be a part. So we're very lucky that way. It is hard to throw a gala, and this is our 18th. And somehow you'd think it would get easier every year, but it doesn't. It's a lot of work to throw a big gala, because you want people to leave that night knowing that they did something. You don't want them to just feel they went to some boring charity dinner. You want them to leave feeling energized and connected and inspired by the mission. So we really craft an evening where we make sure that when you're in that room, you know about the lives that you're touching and the kids whose futures you're changing. And so this year, as you said, we have Rob and Ryan and the Wrexham team, and we'll be focusing on enrichment and how sports and art and music and coding, how that can change a life, because really it's about so much more than that, right? It's not just about the playing soccer. If you watch Wrexham, you see it's about using that as a tool to bring kids in, to show them that they can achieve their dreams, that anything is possible, and to teach them to think bigger about their possibilities in life. And so you can do that through chess. You can do it through drama. You can do it through singing. There's so many ways you can do that. So we're going to have a night that celebrates all those different ways that you can tap into a child's potential and to make them realize the opportunities that they have for a better life, for themselves, for their families, for their communities. It's going to be a really inspiring evening. And if you can't fly out, we'd love to have you if you can, but you can go to our website. You can follow us along on social media. There's an online auction that goes live a week before. It goes live this Friday, where you can buy some fun things that will help change the lives of children with your purchase. You can donate and support the gala and help us raise that number, because the more money we help raise on that night, the more kids we can help the next day. It's that transparent. It's that direct. And so
we got to stop you. We got to stop you, Scott. Scott, the show's over. So I got to stop you. But you are awesome, and you are the best for the Go campaign. You're a good man. Scott Pfeiffer, founder and CEO of Go Campaign. Thanks for coming on. Have a great gala, and may you raise a ton for the kids. God bless you.
Thanks so much.
You bet. And that is ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We'll see you again tomorrow morning starting at 7. Have a great day.